When a wrestler reaches the top of the WWE ladder, it becomes tradition that they help the next generation by working with them in top matches and by eventually putting them over in a big way. Whereas talents such as The Rock and Chris Jericho have executed this numerous times throughout their careers, there are certain talents who took exception to doing the right thing. These legends should, without question, have lost their match against the younger star, but for whatever various reasons, that WWE legend came out on top. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at 10 times WWE legends refuse to put over the next generation. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new channel, Wrestlelamia Shorts. Number 10, Hulk Hogan vs Randy Orton. Now it's crazy to think that Hulk Hogan's last ever WWE match would take place at the 2006 SummerSlam event. Hogan would collide with Randy Orton in one of the top matches on the show, and it seemed like a certainty that Orton would attain the victory. However, when Hogan hit the trademark leg drop and pinned Orton 1, 2, 3, fans were stunned. There was no way that Hogan should have won the match. Orton was on fire as one of WWE's top heels, and he was going to be a talent that WWE built prominent storylines around for years to come. According to former WWE referee Marty Ellis, there was some debate backstage between Hogan and Orton in relation to who was going over in the match, but eventually WWE, well, specifically Vince McMahon, opted to go with Hogan. Why Hogan believed he should have gone over in the match is anyone's guess, but this is Hulk Hogan we're talking about, and we know that putting over the next generation would have been the last thing on his mind. Number 9, Goldberg vs Kevin Owens. Heading into WrestleMania 33, it only seemed logical that the match for the Universal title would be Kevin Owens defending against Chris Jericho. Owens and Jericho's partnership was the highlight of Raw, and the demand to see them face off at WrestleMania was at an all-time high. When Owens faced off against Goldberg at the Fastlane pay-per-view in 2017, everyone within WWE fandom was under the impression that Goldberg was going to make Kevin Owens look like a huge deal heading into WrestleMania. But sadly, this isn't what WWE had in mind. Thanks to a distraction by Jericho, Goldberg would squash Owens to win the Universal title. This completely killed the hype for Owens vs Jericho, as it was no longer about the Universal title, so it had lost its spark, and Jericho himself had admitted that WWE made a terrible decision. Goldberg should have spoken up and realized that putting over Owens was the correct move, but it seemed like Goldberg was happy to win a world title in this lackluster manner. What made this even worse was that when Goldberg was interviewed by Digital Spy, Goldberg revealed that he had regrets about the Owens feud, but those regrets aren't related to winning the Universal title. Goldberg simply wishes he could have smashed Owens a couple more times in featured matches. Number 8, Triple H vs Rob Van Dam. Rob Van Dam was immensely popular with the WWE crowd by September 2002. There were calls from fans as well as some internally in WWE for RVD to finally win the big one. When RVD faced off against Triple H at the Unforgiven pay-per-view in 2002, there was strong desire to see RVD win the match. RVD as the face of Raw was what the Red brand needed at the time, and Triple H's feud with Shawn Michaels didn't need a world title attached to it to be relevant. RVD winning would have been a huge deal, and it was the correct move. However, Triple H was heavily involved in backstage politics, so Triple H would be bringing up comments about RVD's promo ability, and at one point, the game even outright offered to help RVD with his promo work. Unfortunately, according to RVD, this impacted his push, and this act of deviance more than likely led him to not capturing the world title gold in 2002. Number 7, John Cena vs Bray Wyatt. By the time WWE arrived at WrestleMania 30 in their pay-per-view schedule, Bray Wyatt was one of the most interesting characters on the roster. Wyatt was incredibly popular and his feud with John Cena was well received, and this should have resulted in Wyatt pinning Cena on the grand stage. Naturally, this didn't happen, and Cena defeated Wyatt in a move which still confuses fans to this very day. This was a wrong move as Wyatt needed a victory to solidify himself in WWE, but WWE and Cena obviously had other ideas. At this point in time, Cena was invincible in WWE. Whilst he didn't explicitly have creative control, that would have been able to influence his match outcomes, and this is without question one he should have positively influenced. Number 6, The Undertaker vs Albert. The Undertaker had a reputation for always being willing to put over younger talent. The dead man had put over a range of talents from the Great Khali to Vladimir Kozlov. However, in 2001, The Undertaker outright refused to put over Albert. According to X-Pac, when The Undertaker was asked to put Albert over on TV, he simply said no. The Undertaker and Albert worked together a total of 3 times on TV in the summer of 2001, so it's hard to pinpoint what match exactly Albert was supposed to win. But in the Undertaker's defense, randomly losing to Albert would have been a strange move, so it would have been interesting to discover if WWE had big plans for Albert at that specific time, as a victory over the Dead Man could have potentially been career-altering. Number 5. Hulk Hogan vs Triple H. The WWE's decision to award Hulk Hogan the title at Backlash in 2002 was a strange one. It can be argued that Hogan was beloved by fans, but this didn't need to transition into a WWE title reign. Triple H was the reigning undisputed champion at the time, and the game had just won the title in the main event of WrestleMania 18. So it seemed like a bizarre decision to make Triple H drop the gold just a few short weeks after obtaining it. There was no reason that Hogan should have been agreeing to win the matches of this nature at this point of his career, and it was clear that WWE realized the error of their ways as they had Hogan drop the title the following month to The Undertaker. Talk about hot potatoing the title. Number 4. Goldberg vs The Fiend. Goldberg defeating The Fiend to win the Universal title at the Super Showdown event in 2020 was a move that nobody saw coming. The Fiend was presented as this unstoppable monster, but then he was defeated by a semi-retired wrestler. It was truly atrocious booking decision that destroyed the mystique behind The Fiend's character and persona. It was rumored at the time that Goldberg lobbied to win the match backstage, but these rumors have never been confirmed. Nevertheless, it was nonsensical that Goldberg and WWE believed that this was the correct decision. This booking decision highlighted Vince McMahon's habit of losing faith in the current generation. Time and time again, McMahon opted to go back to wrestlers he had previously relied on, and it seemed like McMahon had no interest in making the current crop of wrestlers the true stars of his company. Number 3. Triple H vs CM Punk. The summer of Punk was an exciting time to be a wrestling fan, but the summer of Punk quickly fizzled out when WWE made some truly ridiculous decisions when it came to Punk's booking. One of these decisions took place at the Night of Champions pay-per-view in 2011. Punk would face Triple H, and this was a match that Punk without hesitation should have won. Triple H was semi-retired at this point, and he was already a key part of WWE's corporate structure. Unfortunately, WWE had Triple H pin Punk in the center of the ring, and this outcome led to excessive resentment between Punk and the game, as Punk knew that the game should have put him over. Triple H at this point in his career had so much power that he could change any match outcomes he wanted, and this was one that he needed to step up and do the right thing. Number 2. John Cena vs the Nexus. The Nexus storyline was one of the most captivating storylines of 2010, but when Team Cena defeated Team Nexus at the SummerSlam pay-per-view, the storyline and the stable quickly lost its aura. The original plan for SummerSlam was to see Team Nexus get the victory, but Cena spoke up and believed that he and his team should win the match. This was the wrong decision. Nexus members knew it, and so did Team Cena members such as Chris Jericho and Edge. In later years, Cena has admitted that he got it wrong, and he's fully aware that the Nexus should have come out of the match with the W. Whilst it doesn't make up for the backstage politics Cena pulled back in 2010, it does show that Cena is able to reflect and realize he did the wrong thing. And number 1, Stone Cold Steve Austin vs Brock Lesnar. When WWE wanted Stone Cold Steve Austin to lose to Brock Lesnar on Raw in 2002, Austin was so offended by what WWE was suggesting that he legitimately walked out of the company. Whilst Austin had taken issue in the past with putting over talent, he had never reacted in this manner. Austin believed that if he was going to give the rub to Lesnar, it shouldn't be on free TV, and it should have been built up. Fans continue to be split on if Austin was justified in his actions. Austin has admitted it's one of the biggest regrets of his career, and he wishes he just did the job. In relation to Lesnar, he's never shared any ill will towards the WWE legend, and it wouldn't be an overreaction to call Lesnar and Austin close personal friends. But there you have it, folks. 10 times WWE legends refuse to put over the next generation. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.